Here we see the banded net-winged beetle. Like some other beetles, banded net wings are able to discharge noxious fluid through pores in their exoskeletons, or reflex bleed from the joints of their legs if attacked. Adults are known for their black and bright orange color, resulting from pyrazine, lysergic acid, and other fatty acids, which make their taste unpleasant for predators. Pyrazine is also found in fenugreek, an herb whose seed extracts are today sold to older men looking to improve sexual ability and interest. Fenugreek seeds are also used as a remedy for thinning hair, dandruff, or itchy scalp. Pyrazines themselves are also used as flavoring agents. This is an eastern small milkweed bug. It was found on what appears to be horseweed, a member of the Asteraceae family, not milkweed. Small milkweed bugs have been found to feed on other plant taxa besides milkweeds. Horseweed is native to North America and has been brought to Eurasia and Australia. Native Americans used horseweed to treat an assortment of ailments, as well as for its astringent properties. It was also used by early colonists to treat diarrhea and dysentery. Populations of horseweed have developed resistance to herbicides including glyphosate and ALS or acetolactate synthase inhibitors, making them a problem for soybean and corn monocultures in the United States agricultural industry. Horseweed also contains toxic allelopathic chemicals that inhibit the growth of nearby plants. This common green June beetle is dead. It has been decomposing for several days, leaving only its exoskeleton behind. Field ants wander around it. Grubs of this beetle, plentiful in the spring, are used as live fishing bait. These white grubs are also eaten by many animals, including skunks, moles, crows, and grackles. Some birds and frogs eat the adults. Both the adults and grubs are parasitized by certain species of wasp and fly, such as the waved light fly, which lay their eggs in bodies of the beetle before the offspring devour the host. In some regions, these scarab beetles are known as fig eaters, given that they can be pests of fruit. In the southeastern United States, they are commonly known as June bugs, as their time of peak flight begins in late June. Several other species are known as June bugs, including the chafer beetle, Japanese beetle, and the 10-lined June beetle.
Yeah.
Thank goodness for a backyard full of birds, butterflies, and small rodents. You are watching images and videos we shot of animal behavior in our backyard this year. 2020 has been a unique year for many reasons. When the nature of the new coronavirus suggested a prudent shutdown of all social gatherings over a certain size, I lost 7 hours of driving a week as I worked between the RISD, URI, and Brown campuses. I lost a fulfilling social experience of many classes and research meetings and found myself at home from sunrise to sundown. By May, I shared the house with one cat struggling with diabetes, and I shared it with another that had a 1-inch tumor taken from her digestive system and had been diagnosed with large cell lymphoma cancer. I appreciated the opportunity to be home with them all day. My wife and I bought a home in Providence 16 years ago. We had both grown up in New England, but had been living in Seattle for over a decade. It took a year to paint and update the inside of the house after years of disregard by the previous owners. We then found a lovely couple of master gardeners to help us build a garden. We were sold on wanting native plants and organic methods. We believed the hypothesis that we'd be rewarded with more animal behavior by going native. It took 6 or 7 years to reach the level of activity that satisfied our daily watches. Then we gained a more sophisticated understanding of what attracted birds and butterflies. The Audubon Society and local bird lovers helped us. So did the demonstration butterfly gardens up in Buffinville State Park in Massachusetts. We got our first resident groundhog in year 4. He, or so we figured him a he, lived under our house and accessed his home from a small entrance that was covered in part by some ground cover we had planted. He seemed to be a thoughtful creature, as he would eat from our garden only on occasion, and he'd nibble on the same piece of fruit or multiple meals instead of munching a little of everything. The following year, our next-door neighbor said a groundhog was living under her shed. 3 years later, we noticed an entrance to his burrow under our garage. Fast forward to 12 years later, and 4 of the neighboring houses knew of the groundhog and discussed its eating patterns among all our gardens. 15 years, and there were 2 young ones spotted with a parent. This year, there were 4 young ones who seemed determined to eat us all out of house and home. We had decided to feed one groundhog with iceberg lettuce and carrots to reduce the amount he or she would eat from our food garden. We kept that up this year, but wonder what's in store for us next. We put out our first birdhouse 3 years ago and had a family in it during spring. We added a second house the next year, but had no activity. Last year, the second house sheltered a family of 4 finches who remained with us this year. We watched 3 babies grow as they fed on our feeders daily. This year we had a family of chickadees with 3 young in the first house. We've watched those babies feeding daily. They are still pretty small as we make the turn to winter. Our front yard is a busy street. Our house is close to the street and the sidewalk is filled with the residents of the area, many of whom walk with their dogs. We keep our flower boxes filled with seasonal displays, but have a 6-week period after the winter and before the annuals would survive being planted. Those 6 weeks are the only time where flower boxes are empty. This year, a pair of mourning doves had 2 babies in a flower box. We were astounded they stayed the course and they weren't bothered by curious walkerbys. We were able to take photos every few days. We saw no evidence of babies after the family left the nest, but now we have 8 mourning doves that need to feed off our feeder regularly. My wife has spent time investigating the preferred foods and habitat of specific birds we would like to see frequent our backyard. Our biggest success has been attracting orioles. We had a male visit us last year and had 2 pair of orioles visit our orange feeder from mid-April to mid-September this year. Our next project is slated to attract cedar waxwings. A neighbor down the street gets regular visits of 6 to 8 of them. We have become familiar with all the individual animals this year as a result of being home every day. The squirrels seem pleased to come by and visit regularly. They clean themselves within feet of our kitchen windows, as if they want us to see them at their best. Like with the groundhogs, we've seen many humorous moments play out with squirrel actors. It's joyful, but also brings a sadness when a squirrel we've gotten to know no longer comes within view. The busy street has many casualties, and larger animals do come around. We've had coyotes, dogs, and hogs visit the backyard in our neighborhood. We took our first songbird to the Ocean State Veterinary Hospital, a jay that did not survive the night. There's just so much to notice, and there's now a rhythm to the seasons we will look forward to, as much as any holiday schedule of years past. How lovely to experience a Rhode Island garden, one new insight at a time. We live in a very special place for that opportunity. Here's to 2021 and a lot of new experiences to learn from.
Good morning. My name's Deb, and I am on my way to Johnston, Rhode Island right now to look for something that was discovered this past Sunday at a small little farm. It's pretty unusual, and hopefully it's stuck around to this point where maybe I can get some pictures and do some video on it. So I'm taking you with me this morning, and hopefully we'll get to see if it's still hanging around. All right, let's go. A lone, barred brown, long-winged, long-tailed bird with yellow eyes caught the attention and imagination of Rhode Island bird watchers this past fall. Alan Schneck made the initial sighting of the barred brown bird at Snake Den Park in Johnston, Rhode Island on November 1st. Why would a bird so non-colorful or flashy be the spotlight of eBirdlists? Well, because it is a bird that at any other time would be spending its migration in Africa. But somehow, it ended up on a small farm in the smallest state in the Union. Common cuckoos are found widespread throughout Europe and Asia. They start to migrate for Africa in September. So how did this bird end up an ocean away from its home? Could it have been someone's exotic pet that escaped? Did it get caught in a storm and veer off course? Or is it just another crazy cuckoo occurrence of 2020? Most experts agree that it got caught in a tailwind and just lost its way. However it got here, it is extremely rare to see a common cuckoo in this area. The bird from which we get the sound and name of the cuckoo clock has only been documented in the entire continental U.S. 2 other times. Once in California in 2012 and the other in Martha's Vineyard in 1981. Birders from all over the East Coast and parts of the Midwest flock to the small Johnston, Rhode Island farm for this once-in-a-lifetime chance to see a common cuckoo. Rhode Island is home to 2 other types of cuckoo birds. The black-billed cuckoo and the yellow-billed cuckoo both spend spring and summer in Rhode Island. They are shy birds that live in dense woodlands and thickets. This visiting cuckoo bird, however, was never shy, putting on shows of its ability to swoop down and scoff up woolly bear caterpillars, which seemed to be its preferred meal, wherever it could find them. But as strangely as it appeared, it wondrously disappeared about 1 week later. The last sighting of the believed to be juvenile female common cuckoo was on November 8th. Its arrival and 8-day layover created a flurry of fascination, and its departure has many saying it's simply flown south for the winter. For me, I hope it finds plenty of fields with many more woolly bear caterpillars and eventually finds its way home.